The following is a production of 4-Star Sports Media.
Are you hungry? It's time to sit down and get full of sports on the Sports Buffet presented by 4-Star Sports Media with your host, Wes Pruitt.
Welcome into the show, folks. It's Wes Pruitt, 4-Star Sports Media, and you are inside, or you're sitting down at the Sports Buffet, folks. It's Monday, July 29th, 2024. We've got a literally plate full of sports for you tonight. Let's go ahead and start and enjoy the new events of the Olympics. When I say new events, I'm meaning like breakdancing, the slalom, other things like that we really haven't seen as of recently. Do you enjoy them? We appreciate everybody watching and listening right now at 4-Star Sports Media, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter as well. We appreciate you guys' support as always. Let's go ahead and jump into it, and let's start with Liv Golf. They played over in the UK over the weekend. And we would see the son of Jon Rahm, his wife, Kelly, would relay a message that his son, Kepa, his oldest son, would give him a message before leaving for what will be a 4-week stretch of tournaments in Europe. The request was simple: bring home a trophy. So after a tie for 10th at Liv Golf, Andalusia, and a tie for 7th at last week's Open Championship, we would see Jon Rahm fulfill his son's request at Liv Golf UK by JCB on Sunday. The 29-year-old Spanish star would earn 2 trophies as he would claim his first Liv Golf individual title, while also leading Legion 12 to its 4th team victory of the season. Jon Rahm would say following the tournament, quote, "Just knowing I'm bringing a trophy home for them, it feels good to see it's coming home." He also has one more tournament left next week, or this week coming up, as the Olympics, as he will be playing over in Paris as well. We'll get into the Olympics here shortly too. But what a wild tournament. We see Legion 12 win it over Ripper GC. Crushers GC would finish third, tied for third with Smash GC. Fireballs GC and Stinger Golf Club would be tied for fifth. We would see Range Goats Golf Club and High Flyers Golf Club tied for 7th at 18 under. Torque Golf Club will be 17 under. Four Aces Golf Club will be 12 under. Clerks will be 11th at 11 under. Ironheads Golf Club would finish at 2 under par and 12th. And Majestics Golf Club would finish 1 under par. I mentioned earlier, Legion 12 has now won their 4th tournament. So when you look at this, this is now 2022 during the test season. We saw 4 Aces win 4 regular season tournaments and team championship. In last year's full season, we would see in last year's full season, we would see Joaquin Niemann's Torque Golf Club win 4 regular season trophies, but not win the team championship. So when you look, I mean, it's going to be pretty exciting. They got, like I said, they got 4 wins. They do sit in second place right now in the standings, 15 and a half points behind Bryson DeChambeau's Crushers GC, who have 2 wins and 4 other podium results, including a tie for third on Sunday. Very exciting stuff. Like I said, you've got the Olympics coming up. And speaking of the Olympics, there's 7 golfers from Liv Golf heading over. You've got John Rahm. You've got, let's see, from the Fireballs Golf Club, Rahm will represent Spain, along with David Puig. Competing for Chile, it will be Torque Golf Club teammates Joaquin Niemann and Mito Pereira. Another Torque player, Carlos Ortiz, will play for Mexico, as will Abraham Answer, and Adrian Moronk will play for Poland. So exciting stuff as those guys take off and head over to the Olympics. Now, let's talk about the Olympics. We saw a absolutely incredible opening ceremony. When you look at it from a historical standpoint, and it was really, that's exactly what it was. I mean, it was literally a opener of first ever. So the first time ever, the opening ceremony of the Olympics would break out of the stadium. It would take over the heart of the host city to delight the hundreds and thousands of people in attendance. With hundreds and thousands of spectators, they never before had an opening ceremony been so open to the public. Paris, its iconic monuments, and the scene presented an extraordinary setting and the aesthetics for what was a 360-degree show conceived by Thomas Jolly on the quays, the bridge, and even on the river, which was incredible to see. It would start off with a water curtain, which was very, very, just very interesting to see. But, I mean, Paris really, it's a beautiful backdrop for a lot of the events that we're seeing. For example, the beach volleyball setting is right behind the Eiffel Tower. Absolutely beautiful to watch how that, I mean, just it's just incredible to see. It really, really is. But we would see incredible performances by Lady Gaga. But what I found would be the pretty cool thing, we would see a horse rider clad in the Olympic flag gallop down the scene. Thomas Jolly would turn the protocol of the Olympic ceremony on its head and transformed it into a show, galloping on a metal horse. A rider rode down the scene, and the course of the ceremony draped in a cape embezzling with the Olympic rings. The Olympic flag passed by, the spirit of Olympism, marked by friendship and solidarity, expanded throughout the world. As he passed under the Parisian bridges, the rider unfurled dove wings, a symbol reminding of the dove reliefs that used to take place to represent the idea of peace between nations during the Olympic truce. The rider concluded her ride, giving the Olympic flag a majestic entrance before it was hoisted. Alongside was the flags of the 205 National Olympic Committee, or NOCs, were carried by Games volunteer. And then we would see, first off, let me say this about the podium. The way they just incorporate all of the little things about Paris. For example, the podium is in the shape of the Eiffel Tower. But we would see President Tony Estangut. Sorry, I probably didn't pronounce that right. But he would say that it was a great honor and huge responsibility. Those are both quotes, great honor and huge responsibility of hosting the games again, welcoming the world to Paris and France. He talked about how much its heart Paris poured into the organization of the next 2 weeks by offering athletes everything that is most precious for us. Quote, you will find a piece of the Eiffel Tower at the heart of each medal. And quote, the richest treasures of our national heritage will be the stages on which we compete. He highlighted the games, reminded France that the country is capable of, quote, coming together in the moments that count and of doing, quote, doing things that have never been done before, like having the opening ceremony in its city for the first time in the history of the Olympic Games. Beautiful speech. Beautiful speech. Really, I mean, and then you saw the torch, which I found to be one of the most beautiful pieces of this entire opening ceremony. You saw Tony Parker, former, played basketball for the French. Tony Parker would start it, and then you would go through, and then you would see different ones, but then you would see the only Frenchman. This story just absolutely amazes me. So you would see first Olympic champion and two-time Olympic champion preceded Charles Coste, France's oldest living Olympic champion, 100 years old in 2024, and Olympic cycling champion in 1948. The way that they incorporated and really showed the world, because at the end of the day, that's what the opening ceremony is really all about. It's not just the United States, people. It's showing the world what their country has to offer. But we would then see the Eiffel Tower illuminated with the Olympic rings, but then we would see Celine Dion, who appeared on the balcony of the Eiffel Tower, really to cap off an extraordinary evening. But her tribute to Edith Piaf's masterpiece brought the whole city of Paris to its feet. The artistic choice celebrated the power and emotion of a timeless classic, the extraordinary career of two of the greatest singers of all time, and finally Paris, as it beautifully symbolizes France. But Celine Dion, I mean, what a beautiful, she had tears in my eyes. Poor Kelly Clarkson, that girl couldn't talk to not talk. Wow. Yeah, absolutely beautiful stuff. I understand there's a lot of controversy around it. I'm not speaking on that. I have nothing to say on that. But let's talk a little bit about the Olympics. So there's many events that I am excited. I've already watched some that have really got me excited. So let's talk a little bit about a few of the events that I enjoy, or that we enjoy here at the Sports Buffet. First of which has got to be handball. Man, handball is exciting. It's like basketball. It's like hockey. It's lacrosse. It's a mixture. It's football. It's wrestling. It's a mixture of like 5 or 6 different sports. But shout out handball. Handball is a lot of fun to watch, and it's almost like the next sport I'm going to talk about, which is water polo. When you look at the water polo, you got to give these athletes from around the world. Let's not just single out the United States, people. This is around the world. These are the best athletes in the world competing in numerous different sports. But what an amazing the water polo is they're just sitting there treading water the entire time. I don't know how they do it, but one of my favorite things is like when they come in off the bench, quote unquote, they like drop pencil style right down into the water. So it doesn't make any type of wave, or you know what I mean? It's very so funny to watch. Water polo has got to be one, and we're going to have Rick Bollock on when he gets back from the Olympics. He's had a heck of a road trip. If you've been following us on social media, you've seen our post on Rick, but we'll have Rick Bollock on whenever he gets back to really just talk about his entire experience. But I know water polo is a very fun sport to watch. And then we see the slalom canoe, which is really just like extreme white water rafting. It's fun to watch. It's got to be. I know it's an entire workout. It's got to be. But we would see the Frenchman come through today in an incredible gold medal match. And then one that I'm looking forward to starts up on August 10th, but it's breakdancing. For the first time ever, they're putting breakdancing in the Olympics. And I'll be honest with you, folks, I couldn't be more excited. I could not be more excited. I am looking forward to breakdancing. I want to see who wins. It's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be fun to watch and see how the different styles from around the world dance. What's their style? How do they do it? It's going to be a lot of fun. And also, shout out to the Team USA. They won the bronze today in the men's gymnastics as well. And we'll be talking more about it come Wednesday and Friday. We'll give you more of the medal count updates. We'll give you some more of the in-depth things. We just want to go over just the opening ceremony, how beautiful it really was. If you're really watching it from a world perspective, and then some really exciting events or categories, whatever. That handball, water polo, and others. Breakdancing is going to be a lot of fun. I really can't wait. Another thing that I'm really looking forward to is WWE SummerSlam. It's coming up. It's almost here. It's Saturday. This is coming up Saturday, 2024. It's going to be August 3rd, 2024. It's going to take place from Cleveland Brown Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. It's one of the most anticipated events and the second biggest event of the year for the company besides WrestleMania. It'll be the 37th anniversary of WWE SummerSlam, and it's an iconic event, becoming the third longest running event of the WWE following WrestleMania and Survivor Series. The show is expected to be a big success, could break several records, including ticket office and box office. The report revealed the updated number of tickets for this year's biggest party of the summer. The seating capacity for Cleveland Brown Stadium is 67,431. But it does reveal that there will be more. It will be more than 75% filled with a live audience. According to the latest reports we've seen, 49,469 tickets have been sold. It is being presumed by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that WWE would announce close to 60,000 as a ticket sale number. So they're going to announce 60,000 in a 67,000 seat stadium. This will most likely be the highest grossing non-WrestleMania pay-per-view in WWE history. It's also believed that the show would be the second most attended SummerSlam event behind the 1992 SummerSlam, which took place at Wembley Stadium. So real quickly, let's take a look at what's going to take place. And of course, there's still things going on. Monday Night Raw is happening right now. Just saw the Wyatt Six come out, and we saw the unmasking of the Wyatt Six tonight on Raw. But let's go over the SummerSlam card as we know it as of right now. You got the World Heavyweight Championship match between champion Damian Priest and Gunther. You've got the WWE Women's Championship match between Bayley and Nia Jax. Bayley is the champion. The Women's World Championship match between Liv Morgan, champion, and Rhea Ripley. Undisputed WWE Championship match between champion Cody Rhodes and challenger Solo Sikoa. WWE United States Championship match between champion Logan Paul and LA Knight. Yeah. WWE Intercontinental Championship match between champion Sami Zayn and challenger Braun Breaker. That's going to be an exciting one. And then you've got one that just continues to get hotter and hotter and hotter. And more heat and more heat and more heat. And that's CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee. Of course, Saturday night, it all gets cranked up. SummerSlam, 37th edition of the SummerSlam pay-per-view. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a whole lot of fun. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little college football, and we're going to revisit the 2020 coaching hire and get an idea of who may have made a good hire and who may not have. But all that and more right here on the Sports Buffet on the 4-Star Sports Media Network. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. Talking college football right here on the 4-Star Sports Media Network. You are sitting down at the Sports Buffet, getting full of sports on a Monday night. Appreciate everybody watching and listening over at the 4-Star Sports Media social medias. Be on the lookout for more content heading over to the 4star.live website. We sat down with Coach Keller Sims of the Arkansas Hockey Club today with a nice conversation. Going to have much more on that club coming up as their season get ready to get started. And as we know, the college football season is right around the corner. So we wanted to take a little revisit, a little look down the road, if you will, but who made the right hire in 2020? We're going to look at 4 or 5 coaches from the 2020 hiring from the coaching carousel around college football. We're going to look at their record at the school since then. We'll look at their bowl record. We'll also dive into a little bit of conversation about that team as well. So a lot of coaches were hired in the 2020 season. As we know, every single year there is movement throughout the nation, whether that's offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coach, player, portal, whatever. A lot of movement. We all know it as the coaching carousel. So let's start with one of the biggest hires of the 2020 season, and that is Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin is 34-15 currently at Ole Miss. He's 2-2 in bowl games. At home, Lane Kiffin is 21-5, so he definitely protects Vaughn Hemingway Stadium. On the road, 10-8 versus top 25. He's 7-8, and off a bye, he is 5-4. 34-15 as he enters his 5th year down in Oxford. When you look at Ole Miss coming into 2024, they returned 10 starters on offense, 10 starters on defense. Start out with Furman, MTSU at Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, homecoming for Kentucky, South Carolina off a bye, LSU off a bye, and then Ole Miss gets their bye. One certain thing about Ole Miss, and there's something that with any Lane Kiffin offense, you can say this, is that they're going to score points. Specifically, the under is 5-1 in the last 3 years when Ole Miss totals are 70 or above. Let's just think about that from a college football perspective. That's a lot of points being scored in a football game. A lot of points being scored in a game. Another hire is one that some people saw coming, some didn't. That's Mike Norvell. Down at Florida State, down in Tallahassee, he enters his 5th year, excuse me, at the helm. 1-1 in bowl games, 31-17 overall, 17-8 at home, 10-8 on the road, 3-7 versus top 25 teams, and off a bye they are 6-3. They returned 5 offensive starters, 5 defensive starters, coming off a 13-1 season in 2023. 5-7 in 2021 under Norvell, 10-3 in 2022, 13-1 in 2023. Mike Norvell has this team rolling, 31-17. I mean, when you look at who made smart hires in 2020, of course, at that point in time, Memphis was coming off a 2019 season. We're actually going to talk about Memphis here shortly. But Mike Norvell, 31-17, playing really good football down in Tallahassee. Now, let's talk about a guy who's maybe not playing so well, and that's Dave Aranda over at Baylor. Of course, Dave Aranda, big-time football coach. Prior to coming to Baylor, Dave Aranda was the defensive coordinator at LSU. We really thought Dave was going to come in and really rejuvenize the defense of this Baylor team. And we know what this team's done offensively in the past with RG3 and others. Dave Aranda comes in right now, enters his 5th year at the helm of the Baylor Bears, 23-25 overall. 1-1 in bowl games. At home, he's 13-12. On the road, he is 8-12. 5-9 versus top 25 teams. And coming off a bye, he is 4-3. 2 years ago, they would drop the bowl game to Texas, 38-27. When they finished 6-7 in 2022, 3-9 last year, as they would only beat 3 teams, and really it was an ugly season. Of course, 2021, 12-2, 2019, 11-3. This is a seat that's a little warmer when we've talked about it here on the Sports Buffet. This is a seat that's a little warmer than a lot of people maybe want to mention. I mean, he returns 10 offensive starters and 10 offensive, 9 on defense. Start out with Tarleton State, then they go to Utah, Air Force at home, to Colorado, BYU at home, at Iowa State. Bye game for Texas Tech. Texas Tech has a bye before them as well. They play Oklahoma State at home for homecoming, TCU at home. Then have another bye week. Then it's at West Virginia, at Houston, and then they close the season off with Kansas. Very interesting. That stadium's beautiful in Waco, by the way. If you haven't been to that stadium, you need to go. Absolutely beautiful. They bring in DeQuan Finn Sr. from Toledo. They return Dominic Richardson. bring in some talented players. But defensively, this team's got to get better. They've got to get better. You allow 31 points to Texas State to start the season. Can't do it. Can't do it, folks. Can't do it. All right, let's jump over to the SEC and talk about one Mr. Sam Pittman, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Pittman comes in 23-25, entering this season in Fayetteville. Coming off a 4-8 season last year, 1-7 in conference, tied for 6th in the West. Razorbacks return 9 offensive starters and return 8 on defense. When you look at Pittman, he is 2-0 in bowl games, 15-10 at home. Road records got improved. 4-13 on the road, 5-17 versus top 25, and the Razorbacks are 5-2 coming off a bye. For those of you just now joining us, we're going over, we're revisiting coaches from the 2020 season and looking at where they are now. Pittman's got a hot seat. Nobody's making any bones about that. Pittman's even addressed it himself. And he said, I don't care about that. He did. It's literally what he said. He said, I don't care. He said, I'm here to win football games. That's what we're going to do. There's an article at 4star.live talking about the confidence that Pittman spoke with while in Texas at SEC Media Days. Sam Pittman, 23-25, entering his 5th season. Once again, no prior head coaching experience. It was a big offensive line guy. Bringing Eric Mateos from Mississippi State. Basically, Mississippi State, Arkansas just traded offensive lines. Up next, we're going to talk Memphis. We talked about Florida State earlier. We mentioned Mike Norvell leaving. This is the 2020. We're revisiting 2020 coaching hires. That's what we're doing if you're just now joining the show. We talked about Mike Norvell earlier. Mike Norvell is 31-17 down in Tallahassee. But someone had to replace Mike Norvell when he left Memphis to go to Tallahassee. Memphis decided to just recruit from within, per se. Move up Ryan Silverfield, offensive line coach, also running game coordinator, also assistant head coach. Comes in, Silverfield's 31-19 at Memphis, 4-0 in bowl games. And his seat really, I mean, in all honesty, it's really probably never been hot. There's a core group of fans that have said it's hot. You know, that's their opinion. But Memphis coming off a 10-3 record last year, 6-2 in conference, tied for 4th in the American Athletic. Returned 10 offensive starters and 7 defensive starters. 21-6 at home for Ryan Silverfield, for the Tigers under Ryan Silverfield. 8-11 on the road. Just 1-5 versus the top 25, but he's 6-3 coming off a bye. When you look at Memphis offensively, as we know, this team's loaded. It doesn't get much more loaded than this offense, led by Seth Hennigan, who was just named to the Maxwell watch list today. We'll have more on that coming up. But when you look at Memphis, we've gone over it here. One of 9 teams in the country has been to 10 consecutive bowl games. 88 wins, ranks tied for 14th since 2014. When you look at talking about coaches since 2020, Silverfield, his 31 wins, is tied for second most of any Memphis head coach through 4 seasons. And it's 4th most among head coaches hired in 2020, which is what we're taking a look at. So when you look at the time, everyone said, they just, we'll see, not a real flashy move. We'll see. I think that Silverfield's more than proven his worth to the University of Memphis. And they continue to reward him with a nice, lengthy extension. But yeah, that's it. We went through 5 different coaches. Started with Lane Kiffin. Went to Dave Aranda. Talked to Mike Norvell. Talked to Arkansas. Now talked to Memphis. You look at 5 coaches hired in the 2020 coaching carousel. And it's kind of a where are they now? And we'll continue to do this throughout the years, throughout this year. We'll go look at players. We'll go look at coaches. Kind of where were they in X amount of year, and just kind of take a look at what's been transpiring since some of these guys have been there. Fun stuff right there. I always enjoy digging in, getting some really good research in, and just really looking beyond. Sometimes you got to look beyond the numbers, right? So Dave Aranda and Sam Pittman both have same 23-25 overall record. Well, I mean, Sam Pittman's 11-23 in the SEC. He's 2-0 in bowls. Well, Dave Aranda's 15-21 in the Big 12. He's 1-1 in bowls. Mike Norvell's 31-17, as we talked about, 19-13 in the ACC. He's 1-1 in bowl games. And Silverfield is 17-15 in the American Athletic Conference. So you look at these guys. I mean, I'm not out here saying, look, Ryan Silverfield is the best hire of 2020. It's not what I'm saying at all. Lane Kiffin was the splash hire, and he is more than proven himself with a 34-15 mark down in Oxford. Those guys were 11-2 last year. Damn good football team. Florida State was 13-1 last year. Memphis was 10-3. 3-9 for Dave Aranda, 4-8 for Sam Pittman. It can all flip, though. In one season, it can all flip. And that's what each of these coaches are trying to do the best of their ability to make sure that their football team makes the right proper adjustments. But when you look at the hirings that were made in 2020, we just went over 5. We talked about Lane Kiffin, obviously, Dave Aranda, Mike Norvell, Sam Pittman, and Ryan Silverfield. Interesting hires. And it's really fun to look at where they have all turned out. All right, guys, it's time for the dessert portion. We thank everybody watching and listening over at 4-Star Sports Media, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And tonight, we're going to look at, we always do a list kind of to close. We're going to look at our top 5 play-by-play broadcasters. This is my personal list of my lifetime. And we'll go 5 to 1. I'm going to start with a guy that, growing up, I heard him on Saturday mornings on Jefferson Pilot Sports. That's Dave Neal. A guy that, I've literally been listening to him my entire life. But he's had some iconic calls. He's been involved with some iconic, historic football games throughout the history. And I had to put him on my list at number 5. Number 4 is Brad Nessler. It's just a legendary voice. Honestly, the top 3 are all legendary voices to me. Number 3 is Vern Lundquist. You can hate on the man all you want to, but you can't tell me that you haven't watched a game and he has helped paint a picture or helped. You've become emotional listening to Vern before. Call plays, call the game, paint what we watch with our eyes. But Vern Lundquist is number 3. Speaking of guys who can really paint a picture, number 2 is Keith Jackson. I started listening to Keith Jackson on the radio. Had never really heard him. I watched him on TV some, but really the radio is where I really started honing in on Keith. And he had some historical calls. And I always loved how he would, just really bring you in as a, viewer of whatever game he was working at the time. But legendary voice, definitely legendary voice in Keith Jackson at number 2. And number 1, it's a guy that, there's one call that sticks out in my mind with Sean McDonough, and that is the Memphis versus UT 1996 game where Kadri Anderson had just gotten hit. He hits Chancey Carr down the right sideline, Sean McDonough's call to this day is still burned in my head. But Sean McDonough's got to be my top 5. He was a young guy then in '96. He's still doing it now. Sean McDonough is an amazing broadcaster, as are all the guys. I mean, you got Sean McDonough, Keith Jackson, Vern Lundquist, Brad Nesler, and Dave Neal. Dave Neal closes out the top. Hey, are you looking for sports tickets? Are you looking for concert tickets? Are you looking for plays? Whatever you're looking for. Head over to SeatGeek. Jump on there, create you a password, create you a login. When you do, you'll find any ticket, $50 or more. Once you find that ticket, type that promo code that you see right there on your screen. If you're listening, you can just write this down. It's 4-Star Sports Media, the number 4, Star Sports Media. Once you enter that promo code, it will save you $20 off your first ticket purchase. And there's more of these. So we're in with SeatGeek. We're working with 2 or 3 other companies to bring you more promotions through 4-Star Sports Media where we can save you money by just watching and listening to us here at 4-Star Sports. So we appreciate everybody watching and listening tonight. Like I said, wanted to get on here. It wasn't very long. We wanted to get on here and just talk a little sports, get a plate full of sports in on a Monday night. We'll be back Wednesday and also Friday, as well as Wednesday night. We'll be back for the Tigers Den. Gonna have a special Ice Hogs podcast as we sat down with Keller Sims today for a great conversation regarding the Arkansas Hockey Club. That'll be coming out soon. Head over to 4star.live, our incredible website that houses all of our content, whether that's articles, podcasts, and more. And as well, follow us on 4-Star Sports, or follow us on social media at the number 4-Star Sports M. But for all of us here at 4-Star Sports Media, I am Wes Pruitt. I appreciate everybody watching and listening. And as always, guys, stay classy.